Come on, Mac. There we go. We are talking about dyslexia and burnout. This is a deep dive Hive exclusive. So it's only for the Hive. And if anyone outside the Hive is seeing this, it's because they're getting a little clip, a little teaser taste. So first thing we're going to talk about today is what the heck is burnout? How does it impact us as neurodiverse individuals with dyslexia, ADHD, both OCD, keep going. And then we're going to talk about some strategies to manage it. And the manage it is actually going to be in three pieces: how to stop it, how to mitigate it, and there's a third one that's just gone, but we'll be surprised when we get there. So first things first, what is burnout? This is the simplest definition you are ever going to need to know. Burnout is a state of complete mental, physical, and emotional exhaustion. So it's all three of those bad boys combined. Physical exhaustion, you've run a mile. That's not burnout. That's just being physically tired. Mentally, you've had a long day at work. Your ADHD is like, got you down in the dumps. Not burnout. Emotional, you've just broken up with your partner and you're like shattered. Not burnout. You got to have all three of those combined in order to hit that level of like burnout. Talk about dyslexia and burnout specifically as they go together. So a lot of neurodiverse individuals suffer from burnout. There's actually a lot of research on this topic that is ongoing currently. So still not out. It's all in the works. And there's kind of evidence to suggest that individuals who are neurodiverse suffer burnout at a higher rate than those who are neurotypical, which, if you ask me, just makes complete and total sense because, well, duh, we're working in systems that don't work for us naturally. And then some interesting information that I found out regarding burnout and dyslexia. So according to the University of Connecticut, the unemployment rate among this demographic, so neurodiverse individuals, is at least 30%. That's nearly 3x the rate of those with disabilities. And I think they're referring to physical disabilities in that. So just think about how hard it is for us to work in a system. And that's clearly reflected in unemployment numbers and sabbatical numbers, which I just thought was insane. When we talk about burnout with dyslexia, some of the key reasons that we're burning out, there's a bunch of them, but kind of the big overview ones is extreme overwork. As dyslexics, we tend to overcompensate for what we view as our weaknesses. Really, we're just working in a system that doesn't work with us. We'll get into that in a second. Number two, we have this inherent need that comes usually from childhood and early education with not being good enough and not being up to standard with our peers on that judgment level that us as young kids do a lot. And so needing to be capable will push us to work longer, work harder, set higher expectations for ourselves. That's one of the really unique things about individuals with neurodiversity is if everyone else's bar is here, we tend to set the bar up here. And then we get upset with ourselves when we only hit this, which is wild because we're still exceeding everyone's expectations. Number three, we kind of talked about this a second ago, but building systems that are not that we're working within systems that are not built for our brain. Natalie has a great example of this. We were just talking about the other day. She had a client who, for one-on-one coaching, who joined her and was just so stressed out about writing these 3-page reports that needed to be all this detail. And in the end, she was working in a system that didn't work for her, right? Her brain hated sitting down and having to write. She couldn't focus for that long. She was worried about spelling. She was all of these additional factors. In the end, she turned the system around to make it work for her by creating a presentation rather than doing it in written form, in this long form. And it honestly was better for everyone at the company because most people are visual learners, even if they don't know it. And then lastly, this is the one I am the absolute most guilty of, is an inability to say no. As dyslexics, a lot of times we suffer with low confidence, low self-esteem, and just a struggle to feel okay with who we are and our differences. And so that leads to a lot of, yeah, totally. Yes, of course I can. Of course, 100%. Yep, can totally do it. And it's actually a sign of weak confidence if you can't say no. So if you find yourself saying yes to everything, you might be struggling with confidence. So I want you to have a little moment, a little look in the mirror.